Before I begin falsifying the flat Earth, I will explain some of the claims that these people like to make about NASA and show why they aren't accurate. I will personally do experiments to demonstrate horizontal curvature. I will measure the rotation of the Earth and will measure the radius of the Earth in part 2 of this video. Flat Earthers always like to talk about the globe and how it doesn't make sense to them, so I will address a few of their misconceptions that are at least interesting to learn for normal people. The first of which I will allow the prominent flat Earth priest Eric DeBay to speak about.
2. Fake photographs. One of the main reasons the average person believes the world is a globe is because of the globular Earth images and video footage provided by NASA and other space agencies. Hundreds of such pictures and thousands of videos featuring a globe Earth are freely available on the internet, yet most people never critically examine them with a skeptical eye.
Now, that part of the statement, to my knowledge, is accurate. It is true that most people do simply accept what NASA says. However, that doesn't mean that what they are saying is not valid. The image on screen is from Eric's video, and it clearly depicts the globe, but with the two Americas looking vastly different from one another in size. Is NASA really lying to us about the general shape of the Earth? The answer is a vehement no. Allow me to do a simple demonstration of how this works. On screen is an image of a globe. Now, I'll have another image of the exact same globe, but taken further away. When I then put these two pictures side by side, we can understand that the image we see of the Earth changes based on the perspective we view it from. More visually, it also makes sense because what we can see comes from the light that can reach our eyes, or whatever optical device is creating the image. This is typically represented in a straight line, even though refraction does exist and does bend light. Although for our purposes, we can just draw a straight line since it's easier and is generally a fair assumption. If we draw tangent lines from a circle with two different points, the surface area that we would see changes very dramatically. The change in surface area makes things look bigger. With the strong distrust towards agencies such as NASA, we would immediately go up in arms about how they are lying to us. But when we think about how that could be, it makes sense. Now, this next clip is filled with so many stupid statements, so I'll take it one at a time.
Globe defenders claim that gravity somehow magically and inexplicably drags the entire lower atmosphere of the Earth in perfect synchronization.
First off, no, Eric. Gravity doesn't drag the atmosphere. It keeps the atmosphere on the globe. Mountains and other imperfections cause the atmosphere to closely, but not perfectly, drag the atmosphere in synchronization over millions of years of drag, whenever the atmosphere is off.
Up to some undetermined height, where this progressively faster and faster spinning atmosphere gives way to the non-spinning, non-gravitized, non-atmosphere of supposed infinite vacuum space. NASA refuses to answer at what altitude this impossible feat allegedly happens, but the effect such a transition would have on a craft traversing it would be disastrous.
Eric, the atmosphere doesn't just randomly not exist. Our atmosphere gradually becomes thinner and thinner and abides by that synchronization just a little bit less and less the further up that we go. But also, the thinner it is, the less of effect that has on an object. That is why we can just think of our atmosphere as a perfect one-to-one ratio of angular velocities, because it doesn't really have a huge impact on any of us.
It is also scientifically refuted by the simple fact that vacuums cannot exist connected to non-vacuums while maintaining the properties of a vacuum.
Is it though? If this were true, why is it that I can measure a pressure difference with my phone through just the height of my body? How can I use pressure to determine the height above sea level if it is consistent throughout our atmosphere? Pressure does exist without a container, but only if there is a force. For example, I can whip a vacuum hose around and pick up objects using the centrifugal force. There's absolutely no container within that hose, yet there's a low pressure zone that is able to pick up objects. In fact, I believe I could probably calculate the gradient of our atmosphere using Newton's laws, but I'll save that one for the next video since flat earthers hate math so much, and this has been going on a little bit long, and I should probably be posting this soon, so.
As anyone who has punctured an aerosol can knows, two adjacent pressure systems, not separated by some kind of barrier or membrane, will equilibrate.
All of that part is covered with what I've already said. Of course, if you puncture a pressurized container, the gas will flow out. There isn't a force keeping the pressure in anymore, so it will naturally flow out. Anyways, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, remember that you matter and are valuable to someone in your life. Goodbye.